No, it won't get old. It won't get old at all. Hopefully, well, actually, for my sake, we need an intro video, but I don't want to be the one, Brandon and I, making an intro video for this
We'll
come
see.
January or February, whatever it is.
Well, we got a big topic to talk about today that could ultimately determine our fates of my beard or yours and Brandon's editing skills come December.
We
And
do.
I mean, do you want to kick it off there? I think that's probably the thing that people want to hear about the most. In, I mean, I guess let's rewind a couple of days here because Brum, you were on vacation, and
Yes.
then last week two big things happened. I guess three. We got Andy Bass. We had we put out our video on him. Then we had a surprise commitment in Eli Bowen, four-star defensive back, younger brother of Peyton Bowen. We didn't really talk about him, Brandon and I, last week, so let's kick it off there, and then we'll go to the defensive line.
Where everyone wants to talk about the defensive line. Yeah, Eli Bowen again, and I was totally caught off guard, and it seemed like everyone was as well. But it's kind of funny that Peyton Bowen had such a high profile, loud recruitment, um, and twists and turns and all this stuff, and then Eli the year after is completely opposite, quiet, had a good feeling where he was going. You thought Oklahoma was in a good spot, of course, but until he started making visits and things like that, and making things publicly known, we didn't really know. It seemed like it was an OU Texas battle, and then out of the blue, he just decides he's committed to Oklahoma, and it's a good addition. I would have. It always felt like he was more one of those guys that you could count on in this class. And if Oklahoma somehow lost him, it would have been, kind of raised a little bit of a red flag in my mind. Um, but getting him on board, you look at this, you look at this 2024 class with him on there. I know he's a little bit shorter, on the smaller side at 5'9", 165, but he's got great ball skills. He's got offers from quite a few other programs. With him in the fold, you're still going after Devin Jordan, and you're looking at. I'm trying to remember. And Oklahoma has Jeremiah Newcomb, so you've got Jeremiah Newcomb, Eli Bowen, and you hope to get Devin Jordan from Union, my Brandon and I's alma mater. Um, if you get those three guys, that's a pretty solid haul for the cornerback room, and you would like to think that Oklahoma could secure um, an in-state kid in Devin Jordan. So I think it was big, as far as getting him to commit, and he just went about it totally different, which I don't blame him. I mean, after watching what Peyton went through, I wouldn't want any part of that if I were him.
Sorry, I muted myself. I agree 100%, and he. I love how he. I agree with you that I think it's awesome that he did his announcement the way he did because at least for me, and maybe I have the unpopular opinion here, it does get a little too becomes too much when these kids are making announcements about announcements. Like it, I get that this is like their time and they should embrace it and have as much fun with it as possible. But then also like once you far enough, like most kids have an idea of where they want to go. They might be juggling between one, two, maybe three different schools, and then you've got the rest of the pack. He got straight to the point. Now he's part of the class, drama free, gets to focus on Dan Geyer's season this year. Hopefully they can have they can get to the state championship this year. Obviously they fell a little short last season, but that team is still very good down there, and they've got hopefully they have the talent to get to that game this year. Next guy to talk about, and me and Brandon did get to talk about this big guy on Saturday. First 5-star defensive lineman of this recruiting cycle. There could be more. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Brum, let's get your reaction on David Stone. I know we just had a question from Jonathan about David Stone, but let's get your reaction first, and then we'll address that.
So my first thought is, how disappointed were you?
I wasn't disappointed at all.
I know you love other schools other than Oklahoma.
I don't love other schools. I do want to say this, and maybe I just don't remember it very much because Brandon and I recorded it super late on Friday when we were like very confident that David Stone is going to be a Sooner. People were saying that we need to apologize to Todd Bates. I'm pretty sure that the three of us have been huge advocates for Todd Bates, but I could be remembering what we talked about wrong. And maybe we said something dumb. Happens all the time. Don't pretend it doesn't. But I think that we are pro Todd Bates show here.
I think we've been very pro Todd Bates, but I think we, over the last 6 to 12 months, we've been saying that if Oklahoma does somehow manage to not land David Stone, that's when you start to maybe like, what's going on? I don't think it's ever been, we're against him. I mean, the only time that on this show that we've really, I wouldn't say we, called out a coach was with you and Jeff Levy after the OU Texas game. That was really the only time that we've been just like, oh my gosh, got to get rid of this guy, and had to talk you off the ledge.
Dark days on that day.
It's a very dark day. But so David Stone, I mean, obviously there's a reason why he's a 5-star and why he's one of the best talents in this 2024 class. I was watching his high school game since it was on ESPN. He was dominant. Obviously, I think he got the MVP after the game. He had a couple sacks. He was a game wrecker, and there's a reason why he has those 5 stars. What's really crazy, though, is leading up to his announcement, and again, you don't know what's really real, what's not real, what's more buzz and what's more actual substance. But it does seem like that Miami was legitimately in the running and very well could have gotten his commitment. I mean, the fact that, I forget if it was from On3 or what recruiting platform did an interview with him, so I can't remember. But I saw the quote that, he was going to Miami until 3:00 when Todd Bates called him, which, okay, there it is right
Perfect
there.
Transition for this.
Yeah. I mean, is that really the 100% the truth? Like he was dead set on going to Miami. At the end of the day, I think what he battled with is his heart and what he's being told around him. I think also Williams Nwaneri battled this as well. Is Williams Nwaneri is getting pushed in one way by people around him, and he chose to follow that. And David Stone was getting pushed, seemed like, from one side or from some part of the family, pushed to Miami, but he chose with his heart. And I think at the end of the day, I feel more confident about his commitment because he stated that he chose, he went with his heart and he chose Oklahoma because he loves Oklahoma. I feel really confident, and that he was recruiting Jaden Jackson. And also at that game, Jaden Jackson is a really good player too. I mean, the fact that we were able to go in there and get both of those defensive linemen and get him or get both of them to commit now and maybe do some peer-to-peer recruiting is great. I think Jaden Jackson, there's a reason why he has 30-plus offers, and I don't think that we're talking enough about him. Having that true nose tackle committed with David Stone, I mean, obviously excited. It was a must-get. This class feels totally different, and you feel totally different now after Williams Nwaneri goes to Missouri. Now you land David Stone. We always talked about if you go 1 for 2 or even 1 for 3 when you count Dominic McKinley, that's not bad. Because how many 5-star defensive linemen was Oklahoma landing before? I just, I want to be selfish, and I think Oklahoma should be the spot for all 3 of those guys. But at the end of the day, you get one of them, most programs would kill for that.
I agree. And I think you just have to take David Sohn's comments for as truth. Someone just said that if he would have picked Miami, he was screwing over Michael Patterson McDonald and Jane Jackson. I disagree. I mean, I think with Michael Patterson McDonald, Oklahoma was going to be at the likely landing spot regardless because of how much the staff is focusing on recruiting the in-state kids. Jane Jackson, maybe a little bit, but even still, like Todd Bates and the staff did a good enough job at communicating how big of a family atmosphere Oklahoma is now, and that's seemed to be a huge thing for Jaden and his family. Obviously, like David Sohn being there probably helped when it comes to recruiting. Miami probably did. From what he said, it sounded like his family really wanted him to be in Miami because then they would make the move as well. But we talked about it. Brandon and I talked about it in our video on Saturday. He can live wherever he wants, and he can move his family wherever they want to live in 4 years once he's made it to the NFL and is hopefully a first-round pick and has all that guaranteed money. He'll buy him a house in Miami if that's where his mom wants to be, and that's where he can go train in the off seasons and basically live out the dream that he's been wanting to, because he's been very adamant about doing everything for his family, which everyone has different motivations, and he said he was gonna give up what he wanted for his family, but luckily mom said do what makes you happy, and he decided to be selfish in the moment, which is good for him.
Or better yet, he plays 4 years in Oklahoma and then he is a Miami Dolphin and he plays for the two best football teams that exist. That'd be awesome. But how we doing, boys? It's good to see you. Good to join a little late again. Hose, why are you dressed so nice tonight? What's going on? You have date night after this?
I literally just got back from work. Yeah.
Fair enough. You look like you're in your tuxedo, and me and Brummer are here in t-shirts.
Work, man. The grind. All right, next thing. Next 5-star defensive lineman. A lot of buzz has been coming out about him over the last 24 to 48 hours. I think on this show we've been really optimistic about it. At least I think I have personally. I don't know if I've ever said that Oklahoma's
you optimistic leader.
For Dominic McKinley. Yeah, I think that Todd Bates, that relationship helped a lot. I've never gone outright and said Oklahoma is the leader because it never seemed that way. But I also think people were just overlooking Oklahoma, and to some extent, some national reporters still are. Spiegelman, I think, from On 3. Earlier in the morning, or maybe it was late last night, whenever On 3 posted a video over recruiting, they talked about Dominic McKinley. He never mentioned Oklahoma as a contender. He actually said the dark horse would be Ohio State. Now today, a lot of reports are starting to come out. Oklahoma, A&M, those seem to be the two teams racing for this commitment here down the stretch. What do you guys think? Is it really likely that Oklahoma lands a second in a week? And does that help you land all three come National Signing Day?
You know what this feels like to me? It feels like the opposite of Williams-Nary, where with Williams-Nary, I think we were, we being the Oklahoma fan base, being very, very confident for a very long time, up until, the bitter end there. And when David Stone committed, I said it. I think David Stone landing it doesn't hurt your chances. It doesn't suck, and it's seemingly more and more every day. It looks like he's not going to end up at Texas, and it might be an Oklahoma A&M battle. I hope we don't lose another one to A&M, but I think things are trending our way. It feels the opposite of Williams-Nary. I kind of with you on the positivity train here. I think there's a good chance he ends up a Sooner. That's the way it's starting to feel like to me.
If you would have told me about 3 weeks ago that this is where we'd be sitting, I would have told you you're crazy. I guess you could say the same about Missouri too, like you're alluding to. I mean, Jose was Mr. Pessimistic with Williams-Nary, and he fist pumped whenever he picked the Tigers. But when there's smoke, there's fire. And being on this side, it seems like it's always OU Texas, OU A&M, LSU's way in the back, making up ground. It doesn't seem like LSU's a legitimate threat. What's also interesting is that Ohio State, the program that program hasn't been mentioned for Dominic McKinley much at all. And granted, not much has been mentioned about his recruitment in general anyway. And what's really interesting is now that we're, 3 days away at this point, these reports are coming out. So obviously someone in his camp or him or they're releasing information and talking to these reporters to build a little hype and get a little bit of drama and get more eyes on the recruitment, which that seems to be the thing. With these 5 stars, that's what you do, and you get more people invested in your recruitment. I'd like to think Oklahoma's the landing spot, but I think A&M is going to be really hard to beat. I mean, and Texas is still going to be there. What's going to be interesting is over the next day or two, what other reports come out. Like, is Oklahoma, are they doing this to kind of leverage maybe something else kind of in the background with Texas, and maybe Texas will come up now and whatever NIL. I don't know if that's, that's just speculation. Are they using some leverage? But with David Stone, I think he specifically mentioned that he's going after Dominic McKinley and he's recruiting him. They're boys. They hung out at the Champion Barbecue. I mean, that's who he's going after. And it doesn't hurt your chances that he's with Oklahoma. And the thought of getting McKinley and then the following week getting Nigel Smith, I hate to say it, does Williams-Nwaneri look over and be like, holy cow, what did I just miss out on?
I think the answer to that question is yes, because how do you not? It's like human nature to see that, if that were to happen, for him to see that and not wonder, did I do the right thing here? Just seeing all that talent, flooding to Norman, you would have to think his natural reaction would be like, damn, am I in the right move here?
I was thinking about it earlier when those reports started coming out. How much does that actually change for Williams, though? Because if what we all assume was a motivation for picking Missouri being NIL and him getting paid earlier, or him and his family getting paid earlier, does that really change anything going into December? Like, will Oklahoma have to just break the bank for Williams-Nwaneri? Because OU has yet to show that is going to be something that they do. Is just bid. They'll play NIL, but they're not just going to try to win someone over money. Like, if Oklahoma was a choice for him, money aside, would have been Oklahoma on his commitment date.
It would have, but if Missouri struggles, I mean, that coaching staff could be gone too. And at the end of the day, I mean, I know NIL is a big deal, but if you don't know your coaches, it's just like whenever Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy was committed to Oklahoma, and then his coach left, or multiple coaches left, he's out. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'd like to think that Oklahoma offers a very generous NIL package for him. And you would think that if you have a lot of talent around you, it opens more, you're getting more one-on-one matchups. You're not getting double teamed. And you have the opportunity to actually go win an SEC championship and ultimately a national championship. You're not going to go compete for a national championship at the University of Missouri. But at the end of the day, if the NIL package at Missouri is just so outrageous, I mean, what are you going to do? But I don't know. I just think the longer this goes on, and I don't know if he's just trolling. I mean, at the scrimmage against
wearing gloves every day that have OU stuff on them.
Yeah, I mean, I figured the scrimmage against Union wearing the OU cleats and the OU gloves was kind of trolling, or at least paying respect or whatever. But then his first game, he's wearing Oklahoma gloves again. It's like, okay, I mean, are you just
if the roles were reversed there and he had committed Oklahoma in the first 2 appearances publicly after his commitment to Oklahoma, we saw him in Missouri shit all over the place. I mean, how would we feel? It's kind of how Hose brought it up initially. Like, from you and I stayed positive, stayed optimistic the entire way through. I think we tried to fight through what Hose was seeing, what it was looking like Missouri's way. So now, flip this the script again here. Say he commits to Oklahoma and he's decked out in Missouri shit in his first 2 public sightings. I mean, I think we're talking about on the show. First of all, I think it's definitely a thing that's going to be brought up in the comment section. It's going to be something we come up with naturally. And how do we feel if the roles are switched? Personally, I don't think I would love it because I don't think it's not great.
It's definitely not great.
And it's not like Missouri doesn't have white gloves. Like, it's not, because if it's it goes with the uniform thing, you can just put on some white gloves that have a tiger in the middle, and it goes with the uniform. There's definitely still something there. I'm not going to pretend like it's a lot, because at the end of the day, it is just gloves that he was gifted. So it's something. It's not nothing, but it's not a lot.
The question will be, and the big thing will be, is if he takes a visit to Oklahoma this fall for a game. If he does that after wearing Oklahoma stuff, and if he continues to wear Oklahoma stuff and he goes and visits Oklahoma, there's obviously something there. I'm not holding my breath and guaranteeing that he's going to be a part of this class. And at the end of the day, if he's not a part of this class and Oklahoma ultimately lands Dominic McKinley to go with David Stone, Nigel Smith, Wyatt Gilmore, and then hopefully Danny Okoye and Jaden Jackson, I'm good. I'm happy. I mean, obviously, you can't cry over spilled milk. That is one of the best defensive line hauls that Oklahoma's had in 20 years.
Probably ever. I'd want to. I might do this later. I might check to see how this line, if everything fell in Oklahoma's way come national sign, or Oklahoma's direction national signing day, how it would compare to A&M's 2022 class. Because it's starting to kind of bite them in the ass a little bit. Yeah, they got DJ Hicks last year, but you're not really seeing them get a lot of elite defensive line talent anymore. Because now they are those 2022 kids, and potentially DJ Hicks are going to start having impacts on the field this coming season, and it's harder for some guys to see playing time in the immediate future. How, if Oklahoma does compare to that, like, how does that affect their chances in the next 2 classes with more elite defensive linemen? Does it help? Does it hurt? You would assume it helps, because this coaching staff has put people in the NFL, and as long as they perform, it should help. But it'd be an interesting thing to see.
It would be. I don't think it would put us up to that historic level of like Texas A&M, or I guess was Georgia's class last year. I think Georgia's class last year was the all-time high. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just ridiculous with what they got. But I mean, I was doing the class calculator. If Oklahoma just lands Dominic McKinley, OU goes to number 6 in the team rankings. And then I think if you add Nigel Smith, you go to number 4 and not far behind number 3.
So are we hovering around Beard territory again?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If Dominic McKinley joins the fold, Jose's beard starts to get awfully warm.
And then if Williams somehow does flip before signing day, then you might as well just it's gone.
Kids like danger at that point.
Cancel Christmas there.
Definitely in danger at that point, but we're nowhere near that season yet. You know what season we? Hold on, go ahead.
I was going to say I missed the first 10 minutes of the show. Have you guys discussed the depth chart yet?
Not yet.
No.
We'll talk about that later in the show. Started kicking off with recruiting, talking about how it's not beard season yet. I think we're getting close to flip season. Something that probably a lot of fans saw right after David Stone committed. And then we had someone reach out to us wanting us to just chat about it on the live stream. Caden Durham, currently committed to LSU, 4-star running back. I know Brumbaugh's a little disappointed that we're talking about him being in a Sooner, because he is a Tiger, just like I am, for a different school. He tweeted immediately after David Stone committed to Oklahoma, showing love to him and Michael Patterson McDonald, kind of congratulating him on the decision, on making the decision of being a Sooner. And I think we tweeted about it, saying it's never too late to join him. I don't know how much it actually, I think it was more so like a congratulating, because it's well documented. They are friends from basically the moment they were born. They're they're really close. I don't know how much it really helps Oklahoma with landing another running back. I'd also be interested to see how if Oklahoma would make room for another running back. Not that he's not talented enough that he wouldn't be a take, but do they see other recruitments becoming more important down the line?
I agree with you. I think with 2 running backs already in the class and Xavier Robinson and Taylor Tatum, I think it's more than anything just him saying congratulations to his buds. I will caveat that with I think, and I don't know Caden Durham. I don't know him at all. But I think just from this whole process of following him this recruiting season and things like that, I think Caden Durham wanted to be a Sooner. I think Taylor Tatum's commitment, and I think once he found when that Taylor Tatum was going to commit, changed his mind there. That's just a gut feeling I have. I could be totally wrong, but I think if Taylor Tatum's not part of this class, Caden Durham is part of this class.
I mean, that's totally fair because that was my logic to begin with. With what's on campus and then the thought of having the number 1 running back already committed and Xavier Robinson, who's talented in himself, there just isn't enough room or enough snaps to go around. And I mean, yeah, I think it's more just saying congrats and, they're best friends and things like that. I mean, I feel better about flipping Williams-Neri than I would Caden Durham. I mean, I think unless you start hearing Taylor Tatum, looking to commit, flip somewhere else, I don't think there's a shot of Caden Durham, being a part of Oklahoma. Unless something horribly goes wrong at LSU, but I think Brian Kelly is going to – the Tigers are going to be pretty darn good this year, so I don't think anyone's going to be really looking to go elsewhere. So obviously it'd be nice with Caden Durham, but not hold my breath.
I agree. Real quick pause on the topics. Already at 200. I think that's the fastest we've gotten there since we've started doing these live streams. You guys are awesome. Continue to like the stream. Let's try to get to 200 likes today. Comment in the live chat and make sure you subscribe. We really appreciate everyone watching every week and chatting with us. Another guy from IMG we haven't really talked about too much, and probably the last time we talked about it was when Brum wasn't on his vacation, is Jordan Seaton, IMG Academy, 4-star offensive lineman. You have 2 of his teammates, on the other side of the trenches. How much does it help land this guy? Because you still also have the recruitment of Grant Bricks, a.k.a. Grant Bree, still outstanding out there. And it's been rumored that that decision could come any day now. I mean, Oklahoma has one of the best, if not the best, offensive line coach in the country. You have to like your chances either way. But is there one that's more important than the other?
I mean, with Seaton, don't get me wrong, I love Jordan Seaton, but he seems to be kind of a guy that's kind of come out of left field, I guess you could say, in the last, month, 6 weeks or so. It helps when you have two teammates committed. It doesn't suck, as Brandon says. I mean, it helps for sure. But it seems like Seaton is going to be taking, I think he's already OV'd to Alabama. He's going to go to Oklahoma. And he's
the Iowa State game.
The Iowa State game, that's when he's coming. And then he's also got Florida and South Carolina on the books. And I think he might have some more. I'm just not remembering off the top of my head. But he's going to be taking a lot of visits. Oklahoma seems to be in a good spot with Grant Bree, as I like to say. But I am not going to lie. I kind of, in a way, I don't want to start talking about Grant Bree right now because we're talking about Seaton. My gut's starting to turn a little bit that I feel like Grant Bree might be staying home at Nebraska, because at the end of the day, I think, and this is I'm flipping now. I just think as this drags on, he's from Western Iowa. He wants to stay in the upper Midwest. I think he's going to Nebraska. I think there's a reason why he has not joined this class. And I just.
So you're saying we don't get either one? Because I thought you were saying a couple minutes ago you felt more confident about Grant Bricks than you do Seton. And
Well,
now you're saying
yeah,
Seton's
of
going to
course.
Nebraska.
Well,
So you're saying we're going to get neither?
Yeah, neither. I don't think either one of them. I think OU could definitely get Eddie, Pierre Louis. I think Oklahoma can get him, and then the player from England potentially. I don't know if I necessarily feel 100% about him, but I feel like the best chance we've got about landing another offensive lineman is going to be Eddie, Pierre Louis. I think they're unless Grant announces really soon. I just feel like he's hung up on something.
Well, that's the thing with Grant Bricks. I thought he might have committed this past week because he was saying all along he wanted to commit before the season started. Then they played the first game, still no announcement, so it's waiting. But with Jordan Seton, I'm going to go back to another a situation that we could compare this one to. This is like when Jackson Arnold committed to Oklahoma, and Peyton Bowen was previously committed to Notre Dame at this point in time. And we talked about it on the show. And granted, there was a lot of Peyton Bowen interest in Oklahoma, following the visits and things of that nature. But the fact that Jaden Jackson and David Stone are his teammates, the fact that David Stone probably has the most influence in the entire 2024 class, you could argue, out of any player in the class, and that they're going to be together every single day. I think this, if David Stone and Jaden Jackson want Jordan Seton to be a part of the Sooners with them, and they weigh on him and they, just don't lay off, he's going to end up a Sooner. It's ultimately going to happen. I think just the fact that they're going to be together every single day, he's not committed. Those boys are going to be all over him. Jordan Seton's going to end up in this class.
It's a bold take. Bold take for sure.
And
just put yourself in that situation, boys. Me and you, hoes, we're committed to Oklahoma. And Brumbaugh is not committed anywhere. We're going to be all over your ass every 5 seconds of every day.
There are players committed elsewhere. They're not the only two players committed to a Power 5 program.
Doesn't matter. It's going to happen. David Stone has more say than anybody in the class. I'm picking Oklahoma for those reasons.
No, and also someone that I've just mentioned is the guy from England, the kid from England, Daniel. Oh gosh, I'm the king of butchering names. Can you say this?
I got you. Daniel Akinkunmi.
Akinkunmi. Okay, he was crystal-balled to Oklahoma by Steve Wiltfong, and so he's got his OV this weekend. I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly, I believe he's going to be in Norman. He got a crystal ball in favor of Wiltfong, or from Wiltfong. I know he's got OV set up after Oklahoma. Hopefully Oklahoma can convince him to not even go visit elsewhere. But I feel like Oklahoma knows, and they're pushing for Daniel, that Grant Bree, I'm telling you, it's the longer this goes on, just like Mike Wazowski, you just have those ties in your heart, like David Stone. I just think in your heart, deep down, it's hard to change your mind. And David Stone picked Oklahoma.
I think LeBron James committed to Oklahoma. He does have 4 years of eligibility left. I think you can guarantee that Oklahoma men's basketball would win at least one title in those 4 years. If they didn't, LeBron would be washed.
Let's relax.
And the nerd.
Oh. That's fantastic. I love that. Bram, I don't know if you caught the video we did with. Is that the Andy Bass video hose?
Yeah, he was there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, fuck, I don't remember.
You were the one who changed my name.
I don't know why I thought that was funny every single time, but guys, I was like trying not to cry the first 10 minutes of those videos, just looking down and seeing your name as a nerd, because you guys both didn't know at the time. That's the best part of it.
Jay, we're always back and forth. Row your boat, man.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the new Caden Durham here.
I've been solid.
He's coming. He's not coming. He's coming. He's not coming.
No, I've been solid on Grant Bree for forever until I am now officially changing as of August 29th. I hope I am wrong, but it's just, I don't know. And so I think if Oklahoma can get Daniel committed soon, it's not the end of the world. And, they'll continue to push Eddie Pierre-Louis. But
yeah, I think at this point, Oklahoma kind of knows who they're really targeting and who they've really got a shot at. And let's say that they do add the England kid this weekend after his OV, that puts him at 23 commits.
Yeah, if it's not Dominic McKinley, if they don't get him.
Oh yeah, and then let's just play sunshine pumpers right now. We get Dominic McKinley, that puts us to 24. Then 7 days later, you get Nigel Smith, 25. And you still have a couple more out there, but really you're probably looking at maxing out at 27, 28. Assuming you get Okoye, that would make it 26. Who else am I missing? I'm sure I'm probably forgetting someone. And maybe you get one of those offensive linemen. That puts you at 27.
Also, Lloyd's Red and Danny Okoye will be on campus this weekend, too. So it's a big weekend for Oklahoma, all around.
I'm pretty sure the ship has sailed on getting a second linebacker in this class, unless they identify one late in the process, which is still very possible. Oklahoma likes to go after more in-state kids from December to February in the later part of recruitment.
Brandon, have you lost your faith on Braden Platt?
I never really felt that confident in Braden Platt. If you go back and watch, we talked about him a couple times, but I would love to get Braden Platt. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
No, definitely. I mean, at this point, it's
Braden Platt's going to be special, though.
Oh, I mean, I think he'll be really good as
Oregon's going to get a nice get there.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, I was going to say, Terry
Bussey badass.
Yeah, he's coming back. We could talk about Terry Bussey.
Let's talk about him real quick. Another 5-star. Oklahoma has, at this point, still a chance to land 4 5-stars in this class. Long chance, but a chance nonetheless.
Isn't that still 2 under what the initial 2-point sports prediction was on 5 stars for this class?
Probably, because we also had Sammy Brown and Kobe Black.
We had at least 6, I think.
And Williams Winery.
That one is still possible. Not likely, but possible. But Terry Bussey, or Boosie, I don't know. We're just guessing.
It's Boosie badass, bud. Just like Mike Boganowski's Mike Wazowski,
pronunciations.
Grant Brooks is Grant Bree. This is 2-point sports.
He is going to be on campus for an unofficial. A&M seems to be the leader here. They've been the leader for a while now. But after Terry visited Oklahoma for his official over the summer, OU got a lot of hype post-visit. Maybe it was just a post-visit high where he really liked what he saw. Now, Emmett Jones and the staff get another opportunity in live action to show him this is what you could do as a receiver at Oklahoma. Do you guys think there's a legitimate shot that whatever happens this weekend puts Oklahoma maybe in a 2 or 3 team race?
I would like to think that Oklahoma could be in his top 2 or 3. I don't think they're number 1, just because, I mean, the amount of wide receivers they've got committed to at this point is kind of crazy. But I just wonder if somehow Oklahoma and Emmett Jones comes out of left field and gets his commitment, because he's scheduled to commit on September 28th. I would think that might make some current committed wide receiver, I don't know who, would they kind of start to consider, like, dude, I mean, we've already got like 6 commits. Are we really going to add someone else? Can I go look elsewhere? I mean, it would be
especially
insane.
a player of Boosie's caliber.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really much of a chance, but if Oklahoma hits it out of the park this weekend,
I agree. I think I don't like Oklahoma's chances. If I were betting man, I'm not betting Oklahoma to win this one, but the fact that he's coming for a visit shows that the interest is still legitimate between him and the program. They have to, like you said, have a perfect weekend. Everything has to go right. This is where the fans show up. This is our part. If you're at the game, be loud. Show us. Like, it's cool as shit for these kids to see the stadium rocking for the first game of the year and stuff. I wish it was, a 7 p.m. kickoff, but you're not going to get a 7 p.m. kickoff for Arkansas State. But either way, show up, Boomer Sooner it up, be loud. This is where the fans can make impacts on decisions.
Yeah, I mean, if Emmett Jones somehow can convince Bussy or Boosie to come play,
Boosie badass.
Emmett Jones, that would be ridiculous at this
Talk to
point.
that guy.
Yeah.
Let's see, any more recruiting that we want to cover before we get to the start of the football season?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that Danny Okoye, I saw him tweet. Is he taking an official this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's taken an official, which I find interesting because I thought the whole plan, he's not committing until like sometime in October, right? And it seems to be between OU and Tennessee right now. And it seems like Tennessee's primed now to get the last official visit right before his decision. And I find it interesting that Oklahoma's week 1.
Brum, we're going to have to make a trip to Noah High School, get in contact with him, and do some personal, again, 2-Plane Sports recruiting after games. And then Oklahoma will get the last official. I mean, not a real official, but we'll get a last 2-Plane Sports official, the first and only 2-Plane Sports official. Maybe we can sway his decision here.
I think Oklahoma's probably not as stressed about it because he is in Tulsa. So after he takes his Tennessee visit, what's he have, like 2 or 3 weeks for his expected decision in October, they could probably get him to campus 1 or 2 more times even after the official visit. So this is kind of just a little taste of it, or I guess the biggest. And then next thing I saw
Almost as bad as
probably used to it, honestly. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, it's probably that's almost as bad as last night. Was it Ronald Acuna from the Braves, where those two grown
2 fans
men
went up to him, right?
and hugged him
I
on the
haven't
field?
seen that. I need to see that on the X app somewhere because that sounds wild.
Yeah, they ran onto the field and they hugged him in the outfield. I mean, it's just.
Did Acuna walk off or something? What happened?
No, he's just out in the field. Eric, holy cow,
Eric, you're the man.
man.
What a guy. No comment. He's just a bud. Shout out Eric.
Almost every show, Eric. You're consistent. We appreciate it so much, man.
Yeah, I might have missed it. Did he actually end up donating in our name to the?
He messaged us earlier, but I was super busy. I haven't been able to read it. I'm not ignoring.
We've all had a busy day, I think.
Get back on there.
Yeah, but no, I think recruiting Oklahoma's cooking. Hopefully, you land Dominic McKinley. Top 3, Jose's beard's getting awfully warm if Dominic McKinley's in this class.
Definitely in danger. Definitely in danger. But we'll see.
It'll come back. It'll come back, but hopefully you lose it.
All right. So let's talk about. Do you guys want to address that question from Lester real quick and while I pull up the depth chart?
I hate talking about David Hicks now. But you can talk about David
too.
Hicks if you want.
I mean, I haven't even seen A&M's depth chart, to be completely honest with you. But I mean, he is a freshman, and they've got a boatload of talent in front of him. So in my mind,
You think if Hicks were to decommit or Brownlow Dindy or Levius Overton, that Oklahoma would seriously consider them again, or do you think that ship has sailed? We'll real quick wrap that up with a question for you guys, and then we'll move on. I don't even think Oklahoma would consider them, honestly. And I know how good they are, and I know all that stuff, but I think the ship has sailed.
I think they'd be more open to Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy than they would David Hicks. But I think the way that they're recruiting, I think the ship has sailed. There's really no point. I mean, you don't need to come beg for them. I mean, if you don't want to go be be a part of Oklahoma, then Oklahoma can go find players that will, in my mind. So but not saying that it wouldn't. It wouldn't. I mean, we're at 247 right now. Holy cow! We're about to hit 250. That's pretty strong for a live stream on a Tuesday evening. Be sure to like
on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
If only Little Boosie wrote that song.
Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe and turn that notification bell on because we're going live weekly. And man, we got games this weekend. I cannot wait.
We got games Thursday, bud. We got, I think, and this is, I'm gonna announce it here for the first time ever. It's been slowly trending this direction for me, but you guys know how I feel about Penn State. How I like Penn State. I think Utah's my new second favorite Bays. So I'll be watching Utah on Thursday, hopefully putting a smackdown on Florida. And I think they will.
Do you just love Utah because they play USC?
1,000%. The fact that they're 2-0 against Lincoln Riley make me a Utah Ute guy.
Speaking of that, how fitting was it with the Pac-12 dying that you couldn't find USC's game to watch them give up 1,000 yards to?
I'm about to say they gave up 7 yards of rush to San Jose State.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right. I'm gonna need you guys to see. Let me know if you can see this. Should be. Hold on, I gotta
pose technical difficulties.
Permission to this cancel. Oh, never mind. Not sharing it that way. Present.
Technical difficulties on a live stream.
Brandon, how are you been doing? How's the Space Force treating you?
The Space Force is sick, man. I love it. Here we go. Oh, look at the depth chart. Good work, Hose.
I'm working on it. There we go.
Oh,
this is some next level shit that we're getting on the show.
All right, let's talk about the depth chart.
Technical, man, we are elite when it comes to production here at Two Plane Sports.
This is about as fancy. Hose, great work there. Shout out you.
I can't see exactly what you guys.
I can see it perfect. Yeah,
I can just see my screen. So, but let's kick it off here. I'm assuming you guys have at least had the opportunity to look at this once or twice.
There's two surprises to me, and I think you guys both have the same surprises.
Okay,
you could probably guess them.
You started off, Brandon.
The fact that Marcus Majors listed at running back 1 or Tawi Walker, that surprised the hell out of me, to be honest with you. I thought, and I still think this is the first depth chart of the season. I don't think this one holds a lot of weight, to be honest with you. It's still going to be the Javante Barnes, Gavin Sawchuk rotation, I think, this season. It surprised me to see it on the first official depth chart. And then the second one is that Justin Harrington is listed above Deshaun McCullough. And again, I don't think that this first depth chart holds a lot of weight. I think Deshaun McCullough is going to be the guy there. And I think that, I mean, with Marcus Major, it's going to sound like I'm praying on this kid's downfall or something. But, if he crushes it, I'm all for it. I don't think we're going to see it out of Marcus Major anymore. We were optimistic on him whenever the show first started, 3 years ago now, which is crazy to think about too. But we were all about Marcus Major coming on, being big. We just haven't seen it. I mean, he showed flashes in that Florida game, but everybody in that Florida game was good. Outside of that, it just hasn't panned out one way or the other. If it happens, awesome. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this depth chart, at the quarterback position, no General Booty. Are you kidding me? No. I mean, anyway, Davis Bevel still on the depth chart, Jose's guy. But I agree. I mean, the running back depth chart is interesting. But when you step back and look, I mean, I was not expecting Gavin Sawchuk to be the starter and listed as an because he's only played in the Cheez-It Bowl. I mean, granted, he played well, but he played in one game. When you look at Marcus Major and Tawi Walker, what I think actually, I think it's the oars are showing. What am I trying to say? Marcus Major and Tolly Walker are similar in their running styles, as is Javante Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk are similar in their styles. Major and Walker a little bit more of the nose. I mean, I guess the downhill runner, a little bit of the bigger guy. Javante Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk are a little bit more speed, a little bit more finesse. So I actually look at this as more of Marcus Majors 1 and Javante Barnes is 2. And they just listed it this way, that these are just the top of the running styles, if that makes any sense. So I don't think it's ridiculous to say that Marcus Major and Javante Barnes are 1 and 2, because Major is talented, but he just can't stay healthy or can't stay on the field.
Do you think Marcus Major will be RB1 this whole season?
No, I mean, I don't think so, but I don't know if there's going to be a clear-cut number 1 this whole season. I think it's going to be
consistently in the 1 or 2 in terms of total touches.
I wouldn't say so, just because he hasn't been able to show it in the past.
Okay. I'm on the same boat as you.
But I do think that if he can, he has the ability to. I just don't know if he can stay healthy. I hope he does. But, he's showing flashes.
I agree with you, Brum. I read it the same way as you did. Like, Marcus and Tawi were flipping as the 1, and then Javante and Gavin were flipping as the 2. I also think this shows who was healthier during this summer ball and the beginning of fall camp, because Javante was coming off an injury. I think I'm not sure if Gavin was or not, but I know Javante was. So Marcus probably stayed healthier, as well as Tawi. So they had more reps throughout practice. So they get being rewarded for having really good practices over camp this year so far. I agree with Brandon, though. I think by the time we get even halfway through the season, Javante Barnes will be back to form. It seems crazy to not have the guy that probably was the most impactful freshman last year. I think probably most impactful freshman last year. And then he also showed that he could be a number 1 running back. It doesn't make sense to have him behind Marcus Major. And if, like Brandon said, it's not like we're rooting for him to not have a good year, but you would assume that you would give the ball and just hand it to Javante Barnes and let him start to cook and let him do his thing, because you don't want to hold him back either, just to give someone that is about to leave campus more opportunities. You got to give these young guys opportunities, because they're trying to make it to the NFL too, and it's much more likely for Javante to develop and get better throughout this year than it is for Marcus, since one is 2-3 years younger than the other. And then the cheetah position as well. I think that one is just Justin has more knowledge of this playbook. Deshaun is having to do a little bit of catching up, but by the time we get to mid-season, probably going to see Deshaun a lot more than Justin. I just think Justin has to show it on the field more consistently. He can make plays, but he also makes a lot of mistakes. And if that doesn't get cleaned up, you're probably going to see Deshaun McCullough a lot more as the season goes on.
Yeah, and how about my guy Andrel Anthony being the number 1 on his, in the wide receiver?
Well, that was the safe pick. I wouldn't
necessarily say that Andrel Anthony
was safer than picking Jaquez Petaway.
Yeah, where's he's not even on the.
He's third on the slot.
On the slot. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
that's fine. That's kind of where I expect him to start the season. And again, and this is my opinion. I don't know if you guys hold the same opinion, but this first depth chart to me almost means as much as nothing. It's so. This initial depth chart put out here is going to change so many times during the course of the season. By week 7 or 8, this could be totally shifted. Who knows? This first depth chart doesn't hold any weight to me, really.
Well, I think the only spot that it does hold weight is the offensive line. I think it's clear cut who's the best and who are the starters. It seems it's been solidified outside of the left guard position since fall camp. I mean, this is pretty clear cut and dry. I mean, and Savion Byrd just really kind of took a hold of it and ran with it. So, I mean, seeing that offensive line, they had the opportunity to be, or the chance to be really good.
I agree. And other positions that I think is one for this game specifically, because it is game one and they're going to do a lot of playing around and it's going to be a lot of moving pieces. Basically, the entire defensive line. Look at it's basically everyone on the roster, it seems like. You have Ethan Downs or Trace Ford, and then Reggie Grimes or Marcus Stripling, and then freshman Taylor, is it Ween or Wine?
I think it's Wine.
Taylor Wine. And then at nose tackle, Isaiah or Dejan, and then Kelvin or Ashton. Dude, I'm pretty sure it's every single player that they have on the roster here. So they want to see a mix up of these guys. And it might also be a little bit of a glimpse at going to be a lot of rotation this year. These first few games you're going to see guys find their opportunities and take them.
Yeah, and I think what's also kind of interesting is the fact that when you look at all those that depth chart, the Mike linebacker, you've got Jaron Kanek. There's no or next to him with Connor Neer. But that doesn't mean Connor Neer isn't going to play. I think what we're going to see, I agree with you guys. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation. It's going to also be hot this weekend. It's going to be hot for the first few games. I know they've been practicing outside and stuff. It just makes you wonder, are they going to be rotating a little bit more, get some more looks, especially since it's Arkansas State? And, do they give some opportunities to the older guys against Arkansas State to kind of run, take it and run? And if they don't, then shoot, they're going to have someone out there in the second quarter, like at Deshaun McCullough. If Justin Harrington struggles, he's going to be out there real quick. I don't know. And Gentry Williams, seeing him as
that was cool.
The guy,
seeing Josiah Wagner in one of those, or spots with Woody Washington was pretty cool. Jaden Rowe, there's some comments on him going on here. Jaden Rowe was my favorite commit of the 22 class. I thought that kid was going to be so special. I still think he can be. The injury bug really got him. I think he's on a similar career path right now as Marcus Major, though it seems, and that's unfortunate.
Well, and Josiah Wagner, going back to him, he is listed currently as the number 2, and yes, there is an or there with Kenai Walker, but this just shows how good the staff was at finding where they were missing depth and competitive depth, as they like to call it, because you have a lot of freshmen in the secondary when, right there and in spots where they could be very much involved in game time when it comes to important parts of the season. And even Jacoby Johnson, a guy that came in super late, shows his athleticism and how good he's been at trying to pick up this defense. I don't know how much time he gets once we actually get to maybe conference play, but you could see a lot of Makari Vickers by that point. You could see a lot of Josiah Wagner. It's going to be fun to watch this weekend.
Eric just threw another 100.
Eric, you're a guy,
man.
I can't see the stream, so I believe you. Shout out Eric.
Yeah, he just dropped another one,
and he said, "I want bricks or brie
too."
I do as well, but
we heard the doctor Brumbaugh with his diagnosis of Nebraska earlier.
I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Yeah, but overall, I agree. The depth chart doesn't mean a whole lot when you're playing against Arkansas State in week 1.
And it won't mean much against SMU week 2.
Yeah, it's true, but it's interesting to see how they lay everything out. And Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, who are you most excited to watch? Not a quarterback, because I have
Bowen.
Okay, I have a feeling that 99% of people are gonna say Jackson Arnold.
I want to see. It's not just one person. I want to see the offensive line.
You talking about just this weekend specifically?
Yeah, this weekend specifically.
Yeah, Peyton Bowen. Can't wait.
I want to see the offensive line. They should not give up any pressures, or if they do, just one or two. I just want to see the offensive line be able to protect Gabriel, because if they can come together quickly, I think that's that's a big component of Oklahoma's success this season. I think it's extremely important not to be trying to figure everything out going into OU Texas.
Something that we didn't touch on when I had the depth chart up, no Llewellyn and Helms on there. And
that is interesting.
I think one of them was dealing with a little bit of an injury at some point during camps this offseason. But looking at it, you have Stogner, transfer, Blake Smith, transfer, Josh, not even going to try to pronounce that, but pretty sure he's a transfer. And then the freshman, Cade McIntyre, rounding out in the tight end room. So you got a true freshman coming in, beating out, at least on the first depth chart, the guys that are returning. I think Llewellyn is a true sophomore and Helms is a redshirt freshman. I remember last year on who got redshirted, but I think that shows how much depth is actually necessary and how big of an impact Devon Mitchell could have come next fall, because I believe he will be an early enrollee. So if he picks up the offense quickly enough, him and Cade McIntyre could be a really good duo. Because Cade McIntyre, basically since he committed, people have expected him to just be a huge kid by the time he gets on the field and help with blocking. Not that he's not a good pass catcher, but if you have him as a good blocking tight end and Devon Mitchell as your receiving guy, that's a good duo right there. Basically what Buffalo Bills are expected to be this season.
To keep in the tight end room for a second longer and to go back to your last question, I think it's going to be really, really, really cool to see Austin Stogner get that first reception on Saturday. Just in the reception he should get, and it's just cool to have Big Stog back in there.
Agreed.
And did you guys also notice, and I know it's kind of not something that everyone looks at, the punter position. There is ore at all three. So you've got Josh Plaster, who's the top guy, so you would think because they listed him first, he's naturally, I guess, the 1A, and the rest of them are 1B, 1C. But then you've got Luke Elzinga. I think he's a transfer from Central Michigan, I want to say. And then you've got Ashton Logan, who's the redshirt freshman. You've got three oars there. Who's punting the ball?
We took Michael Turk for granted.
Well, yeah. And I just looked further down there in the specialist. Llewellyn is listed on here as a third-string long snapper. So that is concerning.
See, Billy Bowman's listed as a co-kick return starter, too. That's interesting to me. I don't know if I like that.
And Jalil Farouk.
And so Coach Venables talked about it today because someone did ask him in his press conference about Billy Bowman being the kick returner. And I figured we'd probably talk about it either pre or post game, but Brandon, you brought it up. Apparently Billy Bowman loves being back there and wants to be the kick returner. I think they're missing a huge opportunity in not letting Peyton Bowen do it, because if we think back to his big highlights from high school, always a kick return. Not that he obviously a very good defensive player, but him returning the ball was so fun to watch in his high school highlights that they should give him an opportunity this year, especially if they are worried about Billy Bowman's leadership missing if an injury were to happen.
That's the reason I don't like it so much. Yeah, kick return I think is a little safer, but like when the previous head coach would put CeeDee Lamb back there as a punt returner, it would drive me effing insane. I lose my mind on stuff like that. And I understand CeeDee Lamb's a dynamic punt returner and this, that, and all that things, but the Iowa State game where he just gets blasted on a punt return, helmet to helmet, that's the reason, in my opinion, you don't put star players out there as punt returners. It used to drive me crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the three players that are listed there that are all or it's Billy Bowman, Jalil Farouk, and Peyton Bowen. Two of them are key stars, and Peyton Bowen very well could emerge as a key contributor this year as well. So, I mean, they're all three very important players to this team as far as the offense and defense goes. So, I don't know. But if there's one player I'm excited to see Andrew Anthony transferring in as well. Obviously, I'm excited about the offensive line, but there's been a lot of question marks in this wide receiver room outside of Jalil Farouk and Drake Stoops and Gavin Sawchuk. There's a ton of question marks. With Andrew Anthony coming in, can he emerge? Obviously, he's number one on the depth chart. And then you've got Jaden Gibson, who seems to have bounced back a little bit. Nick Anderson's gotten healthy. I think he's number 2 behind Andrew Anthony. And Brandon's Chiquez Petaway, being listed on there. It's interesting. And DJ Graham's listed as number 3 behind Jalil Farouk and Nick Anderson. So you just don't know who's going to be the guy. You would naturally think that Andrew Anthony will step in and contribute based on the, all the reports in the depth chart, I would hope.
I agree. And someone we're not seeing on there that probably not a big deal, but we don't see a lot of, not every single person from the 23 classes on there. You're missing Marcus Strong, not on that depth chart. Caleb Hicks and Hollywood Smothers, unless I missed them, are not on that depth chart. And Eric McCarty, another guy not on the depth chart. Ashton Sanders.
He's on there.
Oh, is he? Okay, I missed him. My bad. One guy I did think was impressive that he got on there, because he hasn't really been talked about much, if at all, is Dave McCullough. As the number 3 safety behind, I think he was a strong safety, right?
It's easy to overlook him. It's going to be easy to overlook Eli Bowen too, but I agree. I think he's going to be a good player, and it is impressive. But it's too easy to overlook him with his brother being a guy that we expect to have a prominent role. It's going to be really easy to overlook Eli Bowen with Peyton going to be just a monster.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I mean, overall, this weekend is just, and this depth chart, like you said, Brandon, it's just game 1. Like, between this one and game 3's depth chart, probably looks a decent amount different. And definitely by the time we get to, like, after Texas, basically we're going to have the entire 1 and 2 solidified.
Yeah. So, speaking of, we got games this week. I mean, games here, actually, real games start Thursday with Florida and Utah. We started last year doing the betting deals where,
hell yes,
we did the competition. You could pick 5, 6, 7, 8 games, whatever you wanted. And, the best record, I guess, winning percentage won the competition. I think we do that again this year, but there should be some sort of punishment or some sort of prize at the end of the year.
Even week by week punishment would be fun, and then the big loser can get like the ultimate punishment. You know what I mean? Like a week by week punishment can be a shotgun or something on a live stream, something stupid and easy, and then we can discuss a ultimate loser punishment at the end of the season.
I'd be curious to hear what people would like the weekly punishment to be, and then what the ultimate punishment. I don't know if anyone. Oh, Eric, definitely punishment.
Definitely punishment. I was looking through the games earlier today because I was doing a little bit of gambling research. I don't know how much I like from this week.
You gotta love the board. Love the board.
Some of the lines are super big.
You have to pick Oklahoma, obviously. All of us do.
No, did we do that?
You have to pick the Oklahoma game. You don't have to pick them to cover or whatever. You just have to pick the Oklahoma game.
In the Oklahoma game. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm leaning. So I don't think Oklahoma covers because 36 is a lot.
I'm picking Oklahoma to cover,
but I think it goes over. I saw the line; it was at like 51.5 or something like that. I'll double check what I found it at, but it was in the low 50s. I think OU covers that. Then the other bet I did put in as of now is.
We're going to have a video releasing later this week with all of our picks and all that stuff.
Give me Utah State at plus 24 against Iowa. Just because Utah State's horrible, but Iowa, I think, even in a blowout fashion win for them, it's going to be like 10-3, 10-0. They might score a touchdown, and Hawkeye Nation will go crazy. Maybe even 2 touchdowns. They might win 14-3 or something.
South Carolina plus 2.5
against North Carolina.
against UNC. Yep. I think
Wait, they're South Carolina plus 2.5. They're a dog.
they're the dogs right now.
Yeah, I would pick that too.
I think UNC, they have Drake May, and I get why they're favorited right now, but South Carolina was a decent team to end the year last year. And this year, I mean, Shane, that's someone that probably we haven't talked about. I don't know if he gets talked about enough in the national media. Dude, recruiting-wise, is putting on a clinic on how to rebuild a whole program. Because he got a 5-star Nick Carver last year. Shout out, Charles. And then I think he ended up getting a really high-rated 4-star offensive lineman. He's already got, he's in play for at least one 5-star this year. He's doing a good job trying to rebuild or build the South Carolina football program.
Yeah, he is. He is. So, no, I'm just excited. I'm ready for some real football to start. And we got the NFL not too far away either, a week from Thursday starting. So, pretty exciting times. But I don't know. I mean, should we take some questions? What do you think? Or does anyone have any questions about recruiting? I mean, we talked about this a little earlier, Jason. I mean, I think it does. Jose doesn't seem to think it does just because, he probably we assume he chose Missouri based on the NIL. But I think it'd be hard to not at least seriously reevaluate his decision.
I think it makes it harder. I just don't know if it is his family, or as some expect it, more specifically his mother, kind of driving a lot of that decision. How much does not having the same coaches there for her son, does that make her more open to, Oklahoma? Because he's still, we've talked about it multiple times, he's going to get paid wherever he goes. Doesn't matter if it's Oklahoma, Missouri, Georgia, Duke. He could pick any school and he'll get paid a lot of money. But staying close to home is important. Oklahoma and Missouri seem to be the two places.
Yeah.
And then didn't we talk about this a little bit earlier? I mean, what's all the smoke? It just, with this commitment coming on Friday, it just seems like reports are coming out. He's getting a little bit more information out in the public, building up some drama. But it seems like Oklahoma is at least making this interesting and very well might be the landing spot. I wouldn't bet on it, but I feel better about them now than I did, say, 2 weeks ago. It seemed like it was going to be Texas no matter what.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about everything today, boys. Good show.
Good show.
I think we got over 250 for a second.
Yeah, we got 260.
Shout out Eric.
260 something. Yeah, Eric. My gosh, 2 $100 donations. You're that guy. Appreciate it.
Shout out Eric.
So
shout out all of you guys for watching.
Yeah, a lot of you guys have been hanging out for a long time. I mean, shoot, we started almost an hour and 15 minutes ago. So, but made it this far. Be sure to like, subscribe, turn the notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And remember, we go live every Tuesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Central to talk Oklahoma football, recruiting, general football, and
next Tuesday we'll have a live game reaction. That's fun. We're back. We're true. back.
We're ready to roll.
Look out for our videos because I think we will be doing pre-game analysis videos. Don't know when they'll be releasing those, so it's important to turn on that notification bell, like Brom said.
Yep. So, all right, we'll be releasing some videos later this week. We'll catch you guys next time.